Greetings, fellow beings of light, fellow vessels of stardust. It is I, Zuconius, and today's topic is music inspiration. I read your comments from yesterday, and I'm excited to discuss some of the questions that you had. So, first, we had a comment from Agent Road 6360 asking, I was wondering... Wait, hold up. Let me give this a good voice. I was wondering what your musical inspiration was. I remember using a general rhythm and cadence of acta non verba as my inspiration for a song I wrote years ago. So I was wondering where you got yours from. Well, that's a great question. There's a few different things. I broke this down. I might have went way too hard on this. I think I've been waiting years for someone to ask me this. So, first off, I have a musical background in piano. So I grew up learning piano. So I learned, scales. I learned a little bit of note reading, and I learned how to like read sheet music. At this point, I can read it like a second grade level. It's like, I can't read like I used to, but at some point I was okay. I was never a great piano player, but I just liked it. I enjoyed it, and that allowed me to get my emotions out, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But other than that, I wanted to talk about my music taste, because my music taste played a huge role in the kind of music I like to make. I split it into three categories. My musical inspirations between 2016 and 2020, that's my hip-hop era when I was a SoundCloud rapper. The 2020 to 2024 period was kind of a transitionary period where I moved towards my current self and the current music that I enjoy most, which was in the 2024 and 2026 period. So let's start with 2016 to 2020. In hip-hop, I was big into Childish Gambino, Mac Miller, Brockhampton, MF Doom. Now, it's important to note that all of these hip-hop artists that I'm about to list, I don't really listen to them too much anymore. It's just not my style anymore, but these are artists that have a special place in my heart. That includes Kendrick, that includes J. Cole, Logic, surprisingly people like Meek Mill, Pusha T, 50 Cent, I thought it was cool. And then these last three are kind of like, I don't even want to say guilty pleasures because I don't take pleasure in listening to them anymore, but I used to like these artists, regrettably, and that's Drake, Kanye West, and Triple X Tentacion. I'll give them credit where credit is due. Their music, I thought at least, was good. The people behind the music, not so much. I also listen to a little bit of electronic, and that's in the form of C418. As you all probably know, if you don't know, that is the creator of the Minecraft soundtrack, but also his predecessor, Aphex Twin, who is like the he was like the pioneer of electronic music. He's one of the grandfathers of electronic music, one of the pioneers. You know that, you remember Trap Nation? I listen to a lot of that. Flume, Disclosure, Home, and then this one weird guy who I've been listening to for a while, Lorne, who's like this ambient electronic. I also was a fan of some classical music. Eric Satie has always been my favorite composer. And around this time, I also found Neutral Milk Hotel, which was a foray into the folk world, which I got a lot more into from 2020 to 2024. So at this point, I'm getting into people like Moondog, Fleet Foxes, Tally Hall. I'm getting into rock artists, classic rock artists like Tower of Power, David Bowie. Crumb is more of a modern soft rock artist. Steely Dan, The Beatles, Redbone. I was starting to get into these more old school artists who kind of formed the structure of what music is today. I also got into jazz artists like Stan Getz, Bill Evans, Frank Sinatra, Cortex, The Olympians, Leon Thomas. Now I want to speak real quick on Ryu Fukui. His album Scenery, absolutely recommend it. Top tier. This is a piano player who started learning piano around 26 and spent 6 years mastering piano. Never had experience before that, and then came out with this album. Top tier. One of my favorites. I also got into some more electronic with Mid-Air Thief and Mort Garson. I also Got into some bedroom pop like Rit Momney, not the politician, the artist, Rit Momney, and Dayglow. And then I also started getting into more classical and neoclassical music like Philip Glass, Tchaikovsky, Debussy, which I like to just call him Debussy, because that just is so much funnier. And I also got into a lot of ambient music at this time, one of the most prominent being Jeremy Soule, who is the creator of the Skyrim soundtrack. So then we move into 2024 to 2026. I get into a huge amount of ambient folk music. I get into a little bit of heavier rock. I get more into the rock scene. I get into a ton of Latin music, more neoclassical music, and lots more jazz. So in the ambient and folk world, I got into Hannah Stretton, cool niche artist. You should check her out. Labi Siffre, one of my favorite artists of all time. He is a singer-songwriter from the UK. He's gay. He's awesome. He's like got such a soul to him, and his music it makes me cry. It makes me cry. It's really good. And then Elijah Fox is a great piano player who does more modern ambient piano. On the rock end, I got into Jim Croce. I got into Radiohead and Johnny Greenwood, who makes some amazing like piano and like classical style music film scores. I love those kind of things, by the way. I got into Mike Patton, who's behind Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. This dude's insane, and I love that. Car Seat Headrest is really fun. Weezer and Ween are two great bands. They're distinct bands. They're both amazing. Ween is actually local to my area. They started around here in the New Hope area, I believe. So they're really cool. In the Latin world, I got into, I don't even know how to say this name, I'm not gonna lie, Joao Gilberto, Luis Banfa, amazing guitar player. Hermeto Pascual is a top tier Latin composer. His song Wale do Ribeira is so good. And then I also got into, I don't even know the genre, but Los Tres Diamantes make some amazing music. I'm going to put the genre. And then a little bit more neoclassical and jazz, as I mentioned. Louis Cole is such a good drummer and instrumentalist. I love him to death. All right, I've been going on way too long about this. So the other inspirations that I have, or the way that I find inspiration, they found me. So that was a bit of my background and what gives me a lot of the basis for my musical inspiration. But the inspiration itself comes from strong and often overwhelming emotions. And these can be good or bad emotions. For Acta Non Verba, it was pretty strong, depressed emotions. And I remember coming home one day just like almost in tears and just really needed to get something out. And so I just sat down on the piano and just kind of played until it sounded right. That's what I do when I play piano. I just play stuff that sounds right to me. I'm not trying to play anyone else's songs. I'm just playing like the notes that I like coming together and the kind of emotions that they portray. And then finally, and this happens very rarely, but every once in a while, I get a song idea from a dream, where I will literally be sleeping and I will wake up and a melody will have been played in the dream. It could just be ripped straight from someone, straight from an artist or something, but every once in a while I get like a bass line or a melody or something, or verses occasionally. It's just a little snippet, and I can flesh that out into a song. So yeah, that's that. Next question. So this one is from Rain2-DE5, and they say, so, question, what happens to the Prince Zuko Spotify? Because it's been inactive some time. Do you have, like, another profile linked to the new songs that come out? Well, first of all, Righteous Death will be releasing on April 5th on all streaming platforms. So if you liked it, you can listen to it on there. That song is a part of a larger project that I'm working on that will be, I know I've been saying this a while, but I think the final project under Prince Zuko. Do I spoil the name? Nah, maybe later. I'm also working on a collaboration project with my friend Keith, and that will be under a different name. I'm not going to spoil that one either, but I'm working on that. But what's next for my individual music after this final project comes out? What's next? Well, I know Captain Minarda was mentioned. That's a short stint with music that I had kind of in the plant realm. I see that more going in the direction of education and I don't know. I'm kind of on hiatus from that. I don't know if I'm going to continue with that. But for future releases, I'm still kind of workshopping a name idea. I thought about maybe bringing back Zuko's World and just having that be my artist's name, or I'm already Zuconius, but tell me what y'all think of Rebel Zuconius, because Rebel Zuconius speaks a little bit more to what I want to make these days, which is a little bit more rebellious music, a little bit more outspoken music that still has that cool vibe to it. So that's where I'm at. Music is one of the greatest things in this world. It is the ultimate way to communicate with others without words. And I recommend, if y'all like my music and if you have similar taste as me, if you shared any of the artists that I was interested in, feel free to check out some of these other artists that I listed. I highly recommend all of them, except maybe the early ones. In the 2016 to 2020 period, you could take it or leave it. Honestly, I'm gonna be real. Maybe some of the hip hop artists is good to just get some context. I just remembered, by the way, check out the Diggable Planets. I've been loving the Gorillas and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Top tier stuff. Love the latest Gorillaz album. All right, I'm going to stop there. I think I've been going on a good amount of time here. Thank you all so much for responding and for asking questions and for watching. Feel free to ask me any questions down below. If you have any ideas for a topic, if you want me to talk about anything, if you have any comments at all, I'm happy to hear them and I read them, and this is what I do it for. I'm not just talking to myself, I will, but it's nice that other people are interested in having these conversations, and I hope y'all have a great time and keep on shining. Peace. Best song I made yet. I'm just kidding. Let's see what we got.